Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Conversation Podcast, the show that helps you improve your English in a natural and enjoyable way. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mike. Hi, Sarah. Hi, everyone listening.
Hey, Mike. So, how are you feeling today?
Honestly, a little nervous, which is actually perfect because today's topic is all about nerves.
That's right. Today, we're talking about something so many of our listeners ask us about: how to speak English with confidence.
Yes, and I want to say right from the start, if you ever feel nervous speaking English, you are not alone. I felt the same way when I was learning my second language.
Me too. There were so many moments when I knew the answer, I knew the words, but the moment someone looked at me and waited, my mind just went completely blank.
That blank feeling, yes, it's one of the most frustrating experiences for language learners.
And the worst part is, it has nothing to do with how much English you know.
Exactly. Confidence and knowledge are two completely different things. You can know a lot of English and still feel terrified to speak.
So today, we're going to talk about why that happens, and more importantly, what you can do about it.
I'm really excited about this one. But before we dive in, a quick reminder to our listeners.
Yes, if you're finding this podcast helpful, please subscribe to our channel and share this episode with a friend who's learning English. It really helps us reach more learners like you.
Okay, Sarah, let's start from the beginning. Why do so many English learners feel nervous when they speak, even when they know the language?
Great question. The number one reason is what psychologists call performance anxiety. It's the fear of being judged.
The fear that someone will think you're not smart or that you'll say something wrong.
Exactly. And here's something interesting. This fear actually affects your brain physically. When you feel anxious, your brain releases stress hormones.
And those stress hormones make it harder to access your memory.
Right. So the vocabulary you studied, the grammar you practiced, it temporarily becomes harder to reach. It's like your brain locks the filing cabinet.
That's such a good way to describe it. The words are there, you just can't get to them in that moment.
Exactly. And then you freeze, and then you feel more embarrassed, and then the anxiety gets worse.
It's a cycle.
A very unpleasant cycle. But the good news is you can break it.
How?
The first strategy I want to share is what I call the confidence anchor, and it's simpler than it sounds.
Tell me more.
Before any situation where you need to speak English, a meeting, a phone call, a conversation, you choose one or two sentences that you know absolutely 100% without any doubt.
Sentences you feel totally comfortable with.
Yes. For example, that's a really interesting point. Or, could you say that again, please? Or even, I completely agree.
Oh, I see. These are your anchors. When you feel lost, you can always return to them.
Exactly. Knowing you have these safe sentences waiting for you reduces your anxiety before the conversation even starts.
It's like having a safety net.
Precisely. And when your anxiety is lower, your brain can actually access your real vocabulary much more easily.
So the anchor sentences aren't just for using, they're for calming you down.
Exactly right. Now, here's the second strategy, and this one might surprise you.
I'm ready.
Stop trying to sound perfect.
That sounds almost too simple.
I know, but think about it. When your goal is to sound perfect, every sentence becomes a test, and nobody speaks well when they feel like they're being tested.
So what should the goal be instead?
The goal should be to be understood. That's it. Just communicate your idea clearly enough that the other person gets it.
And if you make a grammar mistake along the way?
It truly does not matter most of the time. Native speakers make grammar mistakes too. What people remember is whether you communicated something interesting or useful.
This is something I had to learn myself. I used to spend so long choosing the perfect word that by the time I spoke, the conversation had moved on.
Yes, and that's actually worse than saying something imperfect quickly.
Because communication is about flow, not perfection.
Exactly. Language is a tool, not a performance. You use it to connect with people, not to impress them.
Okay, so we have confidence anchors and we have letting go of perfection. What's the third strategy?
The third strategy is what I call the 1-second pause habit.
1 second. That's very specific.
It is. Here's the idea. Most nervous speakers rush. They try to get their words out quickly because they're afraid of silence.
I definitely do this.
We all do, but silence is not your enemy. A 1-second pause before you answer actually makes you sound more confident, not less.
Really? Why?
Because confident people are not in a hurry. When you pause before speaking, you seem thoughtful. You seem in control.
And during that pause, your brain has a moment to find the right words.
Exactly. So the next time someone asks you a question in English, try this. Take one breath, then speak. Just one breath.
One breath as a pause.
Yes, it gives you time, it calms your nervous system, and it signals to the other person that you are comfortable.
I want to try this right now. Ask me something.
Okay, speaker 2, what's your favorite thing about learning languages?
Honestly, I think it's the moment when you understand a joke in another language, because humor is the hardest thing to translate.
See, that pause made that answer feel natural and thoughtful.
I did feel less rushed. That actually works.
It does. Okay, let's talk about something that comes up again and again with our listeners, the fear of not understanding what someone says.
Oh, yes, the fear of asking someone to repeat themselves,
Right. Many learners would rather nod and pretend to understand than admit they didn't catch something.
which then leads to even more confusion later.
Exactly. So here's what I want everyone to hear clearly. Asking for clarification is a sign of intelligence, not weakness.
Even native speakers ask each other to repeat things all the time.
All the time. And there are polite, natural ways to do it. For example, you could say, "Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say that again?" Or, "Could you speak a little slower? I want to make sure I understand."
Or even just, sorry, could you repeat that?
Simple and completely normal. Nobody thinks less of you for asking. In fact, most people appreciate that you care enough to want to understand correctly.
This is so important. I think many learners feel embarrassed, like not understanding is their fault.
It's not. Language is fast, accents are different, environments are noisy. Not understanding something has nothing to do with your intelligence or your level.
Okay, let's talk about building confidence outside of real conversations, because not everyone has opportunities to speak English every day.
This is such a practical point, and the answer is you can build speaking confidence even when you're alone.
How?
The most effective method I found is what I call mirror practice, but not just looking at yourself and speaking.
What do you mean?
You set up a scenario. You decide, right now I am introducing myself at a job interview, or right now I'm explaining to a friend why I love my favorite movie, and then you play it out in front of the mirror.
So you're acting it out.
Yes, and the mirror matters because you can see your face, your expressions, your body language. Confidence is not just in your words, it's in how you hold yourself.
And when you see yourself looking confident, even in practice, it actually helps you feel more confident.
Exactly. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between practicing something and doing it. Every confident performance you give, even alone in your room, is training your brain to do it naturally.
This is neuroscience again.
It really is. The more you practice the feeling of confidence, the more accessible that feeling becomes in real situations.
Let's give our listeners a weekly challenge for this.
Yes, here's your homework. Every day this week, for just 5 minutes, stand in front of a mirror and talk. Choose a different topic each day. Monday, describe your day. Tuesday, talk about something you love. Wednesday, explain a problem you're dealing with. Thursday, give your opinion on something you saw or read. Friday, introduce yourself as if you're meeting someone important for the first time.
5 minutes, one topic, every day.
Yes, and notice how it feels on Friday compared to Monday. Most people are surprised by how much easier it gets in just 1 week.
I love this. Okay, let's talk about one more thing before we wrap up. What about long-term confidence? Because these strategies help in the moment, but how do you build deep, lasting confidence as an English speaker?
This is the most important question, and the honest answer is repetition and positive experience.
Can you explain?
Your brain builds confidence through evidence. Every time you have a successful English interaction, even a small one, your brain records it. I did that. I can do that.
So confidence is basically a collection of small successes.
Exactly. And this is why it's so important to put yourself in low-stakes situations where you can succeed. Order something in English, respond to a comment online in English, watch a YouTube video and leave an English comment.
Small wins.
Small wins compound. After 50 small wins, you have evidence, real evidence that you can do this.
And the fear starts to shrink.
It does. It never completely disappears. Even native speakers get nervous sometimes, but it becomes manageable. It stops controlling you.
That's such a hopeful message. The fear doesn't have to go away, you just have to learn to speak through it.
Beautifully said. That's exactly it. Confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is doing it anyway.
I think that's a perfect note to end on.